そこだ。みんながそばにいてくれれば。
チョック呪言来光意図美しきかな。
Hey, what's up guys? Today I want to talk to you about Yae Miko and my thoughts on this new character. Yae is a character whom I've been waiting for a very long time and is one of my personal favorite characters. But in this video, I want to give you an honest review on my thoughts on Yae Miko, do a showcase of her in a few different teams, while also giving you a rundown on how Yae Miko should be built and how I am choosing to use her. While I will go into more detail on exact weapon rankings, rotations, advanced tips, and more detailed build advice in my complete Yae Miko guide, which should come out in a day or two, I don't want to rush that one, and so I want to center this video more around Yae Miko's potential so that you can better decide whether or not you should pull for her, an explanation of my current Yae build and what you can use on her, and also and especially a rundown and a showcase of her strongest teams to show you her strength and potential. I do also want to mention that I played Yae Miko extensively on a media server before she went live, which is why I have so much footage ready for this video. With that being said, I don't want this intro to go on any longer, so let's finally talk about Yae. Alright, so first of all, what I want to do is talk about Yae Miko's abilities, give you an overview of them, and how you play this character and get the most value out of her. The way Yae Miko works is as follows. Her elemental skill places down these sort of little pillar things that will hit nearby enemies dealing electro damage that Yae Miko can summon out by dashing and placing it where she lands. These little pillars have 3 charges and you can have 3 of them out at once on the field, and for every one you have, the damage of each of them is increased by 1 level. As you can see, there's different scalings based on how many you have, with it starting at level 1 and then going all the way up to level 4 if you have 3 of them out at the same time. Each of them lasts for 14 seconds, with a 4-second cooldown on every charge, and the damage they deal is honestly quite nice. Another really nice property of this ability is the way it interacts with your burst and your passives. In fact, when Yae Miko uses her powerful elemental burst, not only will it have 1 big hit of electro damage, but it will also destroy every active cast of your skill, all those little pillars, and deal another instance of AoE damage for every pillar destroyed. The scaling on the second part is actually higher than the first part, so be sure to cast your skill 3 times before using your burst. After that, once you use your burst, your skill's cooldown will be reset. Every single pillar you destroy during your burst will give you another charge of your skill, so effectively you'll be able to use your skill 3 times, then use your burst, and then use your skill 3 times once again. This makes for a potent amount of just burst electro damage, while also having good passive electro damage through your skills that will just stay there and deal consistent electro damage, making her powerful even from off field as a sub DPS, although you do need some field time to set everything up and use your burst. While I will go into much more detail in my complete Yae guide, as this is just an overview before I get into the showcase and the build, I do also want to emphasize that Yae Miko's burst has some interesting properties, notably the energy cost being 90, which is very high, and the cooldown being 22 seconds, which is also quite high. And since I want to give an honest review of this character, covering her strengths and weaknesses, these are some things that I have to talk about. In fact, while these may seem scary, there's many ways to play around them. While the energy cost is quite high, as long as you run Yae with an electro battery, someone like Raiden or Fischl, you really won't need an insane amount of energy recharge on your artifacts, especially when you consider the new free-to-play weapon that comes with energy recharge that we'll talk about shortly. On top of that, while the cooldown is quite long and that can be an issue, there are teams that play around this and you kind of have to build your rotation around this. In fact, while Yae can make up for this with her nice and impressive electro damage and overall just fitting electro teams or teams that want electro, thinking of electro charge teams, taser teams, and mono electro in general as a powerful burst damage dealer, the 22-second cooldown and the fact that Yae Miko wants to spend time on field because you have to set up 3 charges of your skill, then use your burst, and then set up another 3 charges of your skill are some things to consider when you get into Yae Miko's teams. You can't just pair her with any main DPS who has literally 0 downtime because you won't be wanting to spend time on Yae Miko to set everything up. Because of that, characters with downtime like Raiden Shogun can be excellent pairs for Yae Miko as it will cover for each other's weaknesses, spending time on Raiden and then spending time on Yae Miko, alternating between your cooldowns to have a very good and efficient rotation. On top of that, they are both electro and Raiden will provide energy for Yae, which makes them even better together. And through my experience, as long as you play to Yae's strengths, you can make some very efficient teams with her. Speaking of Yae's strengths, what are they? So first of all, in teams that want electro, having an off-field electro sort of sub DPS, someone who can deal consistent electro damage is always very nice. While there's other options like Fischl or Beto, Yae provides you with really good single target damage and then an AoE burst. Yae can therefore fit electro teams quite well, as I mentioned, pairing especially well with someone like Raiden, or even with another electro character like Fischl as a double electro core in a few different teams that we'll talk about, like a taser team, or even I've been experimenting with a Shoutout team, although I don't like her in it as much as someone like Zhongli or Kazo with a pyro support, but it is viable. viable. While Yae is still a very new character, so it's a bit early to comment on her power level and place in the meta, because that thing develops and changes. To answer the question of should you pull for Yae, it highly depends obviously on if you like her, but also on what characters you have and what teams you can put her in, because I believe she's very powerful in Electro teams, as I mentioned many times already, as she can increase your team's overall damage quite significantly when paired with the correct units like Raiden or certain reaction-based teams. And so while I personally really like Yae Miko, I do want to make it clear that you shouldn't feel forced to pull for her, because there are other Electro sub DPSs that exist if you don't have her, someone like Fischl who is more single target, or someone like Beto who is also very powerful, although Yae is a completely different unit, as she is someone who requires like more field time than someone like Fischl, for example, as you want to use your skill so many times to set up for your burst, and then use your skill 3 times again after your burst, so it does take more setup, but will reward you with a strong amount of single target damage from your skill, and also AoE damage from your burst that does have a high scaling. I do want to re-emphasize that I know a lot of people have very divergent and mixed opinions right now with her release, and I personally believe she's a well-balanced unit, in the same vein as someone like Shenhe, who has a few teams where she shines without being universally needed. I think Yae is the same, where you should get her if you like her or have teams where she can fit, but shouldn't feel forced to get her. Now with that being said, the main reason a lot of people are here are to see Yae Miko's damage. The one thing I want to say is that while my Yae Miko is well geared, and I guess we'll start talking about her build right now, I do really want to emphasize that I wish I could get my talents to level 8, as that's usually the standard for testing that I do. She is currently level 6 talents because I cannot get the boss mats right now. My current build on Yae is the Widsith, because it is a 4-star, although I do have it refinement rank 5. Good weapon for increasing my burst damage, as when I swap into Yae, I will have a buff for 10 seconds, allowing me to set up, use my burst, and then swap out, capitalizing on whatever buff I gained. On top of that, every effect of this book, including the Elemental Mastery, are good on Yae, notably because of one of her passives that gives her more damage if she has Elemental Mastery, making it a decent substat. Obviously, however, her new Catalyst is her best option, and the new free-to-play option providing you with energy recharge is absolutely amazing for Yae as well, so everyone can have a good weapon for her. For an exact weapon ranking, I will go into that in my next video, so stay tuned for that. For artifact sets, another strength of Yae, and something you should know, is that she is very flexible. Similarly to Fischl, but with even more artifact sets, there's many different ways to build this character. To give you a quick rundown, 2 pieces such as the Thundering Fury, the Shimenawa's Reminiscence, or Gladiator, and both of them together even work, the Emblem set, which gives you energy recharge on the 2-piece, and even the 4-piece emblem to increase your burst damage, and also the 4-piece Thunder Soother in teams where you're applying Electro constantly, can all be viable and powerful options for Yae Miko. I do want to emphasize that the difference in power level between every artifact set highly depends on your team, but also your substats, as most of them are all very close to one another, with my preference being a 2-piece Reminiscence with another 2-piece like Thundering Fury to amplify my entire kit. The stats I'm choosing to run are attack percent on the Sands, electro damage bonus on the Goblet, and crit on the Circlet, for a pretty just DPS centered build, even from off field, with a good ratio of 86 crit rate, as that is her Ascension passive, 194 crit damage, and enough energy recharge with an Electro battery to make her work. I am also running a Yae on C0 to have a more relatable showcase. Now moving on to some of Yae Miko's best teams and the ones that I'm going to be using in the showcase, we're going to be using her in a Raiden carry team, a Raiden hyper carry team consisting of Raiden, Bennett, Kazuha, and then Yae. Yae fits very well, and then you can go into your Raiden who will deal massive amounts of damage with Yae Miko helping her from off field, while also having Raiden give that energy to your Yae, who will then be able to fill in the downtime of Raiden's burst. Keep in mind this clear is done with a C0 Raiden as well, which does truly show the power of this team. Also, just a side note, mono Electro teams are also very powerful with something like a Sara C6, which I personally don't have, which is why I'm not running it, but teams like this where you pair 3 Electro characters with an Anemo support can work with Yae. I did want to mention, and I'm recording this after Yae came out on the global like NA server, because I want to make this video as high quality as possible, that another good variation of this Taser team that seems to work quite well through my testing is using Kazuha here as the last slot, since Yae Miko does need a lot of field time. On top of that, since Xingqiu doesn't get as much value since you're using Yae Miko a lot, so you can't normal attack as much, while he's still a very good option, you can also use someone like Kokomi as the Hydro slot in this team, and so there are a few variations that you can go. Initially, I was going to do a showcase of just one team, or maybe just do a bunch of different teams, is do one full showcase of one team, which I'm going to use Yae with Raiden, because I personally enjoy using these characters together and they have some good synergy, and include a clip or two as well of a Taser Yae team where I pair her with Xingqiu and Sucrose. Lastly, since I'm adding information to this video, I do want to re-emphasize that I really like mono electro teams, especially if you have Sarah C6. After testing them further, they definitely grew on me, but it's just a shame that I have to use someone else's account to do so, as I personally do not have Sarah C6 on my account. With that being said, I really hope this video was helpful, and I hope you'll enjoy the showcase. Let's go.
ここより弱滅の時見切りました。振動の権限ショック15分稲光すなわち永遠なり逃げ道はありません。振動の権限ショック姿を見せよ。安全距離確認。6308式ユニット。お嬢様の応答答えなさい。吸引テスト開始。15ショック15。雨描きがたし。有限なる来週。
And so overall, I really like Yae Miko. Regarding the showcase, I hope you enjoyed watching it. I know some of it could have been optimized better. I was playing on 250 ping, and I'm also talent level 6, so a lot of room for improvement, but I just tried to show Yae's potential and just some teams that work very well with her. She is a character whom I really enjoy and will be playing, especially in Electro teams, but you shouldn't feel forced to pull for her. That being said, I will be including a much more detailed guide regarding artifacts, weapons, optimal rotations, everything you need to know in a complete Yae guide coming out in a day or two. I didn't want to rush that video, but I really wanted to show you guys some Yae footage right now by doing a showcase and giving you my thoughts on how to build her for the time being and good team comps that work. More Yae content is to come, so stay tuned for that. Be sure to subscribe to catch it as it comes out if you haven't already. Follow me on Twitch as I do stream quite often down there. And with that being said, I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.